Get a new perspective on logging and lumbering at an historical museum outside of Arnold. We'll say that because it's not in Arnold.
Logging and lumbering. Lumbering is how I was described as a football player. Cody is there at the Caravan this morning learning how the industry has changed over the years.
So technically, where are we?
We're in White Pines.
White
We're in
Pines.
White Pines, right, Bob?
Right.
All right.
Yeah, White Pines.
Which is located where next to Arnold?
Which is about a mile down from Arnold.
Well, it's a
Okay.
suburb of Arnold.
And it was a logging community at the time, before Arnold was pretty much even a town
Oh,
at the time. So we're at the Sierra Nevada Logging Museum, and I'm Bob Ash. I'm president of the museum. And this is Jason here, and he's a forester. And also we have Mike Stenfield. He's a forester, and these two guys are going to take you around and show you what we have here and what's going on here.
I'm telling you, I've been here about an hour, and I'm having the best time. This is really great. Mike's going to show you inside the museum here, but Jason, tell us about the Jamboree that's coming up.
Okay, so the museum is completely volunteer and donation supported, and we have one of our most important fundraisers coming up. That is the annual Logging Jamboree. It is every Labor Day weekend on Saturday, so that's August 31st this year, and it is a wild good time. We've got axe throwing, we've got hot sawing, we got crosscut sawing, so some fun competitions for the family and everybody to watch, plus, you know, some of the finest logging exhibits in the area.
It is amazing. These exhibits are absolutely amazing. There's a Jack and Jill saw thing that I think that would be the end of my relationship with my wife.
Yeah, one on each end, back and forth. Yeah.
I don't think Carol and I could make it through that. Okay, so that's coming up around thing.
August 31st, yes.
What are we going to see inside?
You're going to see some excellent exhibits about the logging industry and the logging history. You're going to see how sawmills work. You're going to learn about the forest industry and the forestry science. And you're going to see some how logging camps work. Plus, you're going to have some great opportunities to buy some merch in there.
Yes, they have fantastic merch. They have a pair of suspenders that I got my eyes on. I think I should buy those. What is it like to be in this industry? Because I think people at home, I think most of the things that we think about logging, we learn from like cartoons. You know, you can see Bugs Bunny goes up and saws down a tree.
You know, it's an exciting industry. It's also such an important industry for the region's economy. You know, even though we might not think about it as much, we use a lot of wood for a lot of things. And so it's really important for the region's economy, the state's economy, and for forest health, really. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to show you some of the exhibits here. They're fantastic. But some of the engineering that they did back in the day is going to blow your mind. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. All right, White Pines. That's where I am.
White Pines.
White Pines, not Arnold. We're in White Pines. I'm telling you, you got to check out this museum. And if you got a chance to come to the Jamboree, we're coming back next year, and we're doing just a Jamboree.
Come on up.
I've put my foot down, and I've got my calendar out because we're going to come out and do that. But we'll show you inside the museum coming up. Back to you guys.
who doesn't love a good old jamboree?
Cody, I know we're checking out lumberjack
That's
stuff
right.
today, but let's not come back with our lumbar jacked after today.
You see what he did? But
Too
also,
late, John. Too late.
That's true. Too late.
It was really good.
Too late. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate it.
Oh, man. This spot is going to take you back in history. It's got everything from lumbering industry to even a glance at the gold rush days.
So we check back in with Cody Stark, who's hanging out not in Arnold this morning, as it says in the teleprompter.
But down the holler.
Down the holler in White
Right.
Pine. Hey, Cody.
White Pines is right next to Arnold.
Yeah.
If you missed the sign, you didn't know. Ain't nobody got a better museum than this one. See what I did there? I was listening.
People don't realize that song's
We're going to
about
talk
logging.
about forestry and the history of forestry. Yeah, exactly. This is my friend Mike. Mike is going to introduce us a little bit about the museum. And what's this area right here, Mike?
This is the forestry section of the museum. And forestry is actually the application of rural or the natural and physical sciences to the management of large areas of forest land. And a key is that large areas of forest land that we have to work with.
I mean, and we're in Northern California right here, and that's all forest, right?
A lot of it, yes. A forester must have a 4-year degree with culminating in a school of forestry that's approved by the Society of American Foresters. What we have here is some illustrations of foresters at work in the mural there. And the one to the left is doing what we call increment boring. And I'm going to move over here and pick one up. This is the increment borer that we're putting into the tree. And then we extract, can you see the
I can.
rings there?
Matter of
Okay.
fact, what we're going to do is in the 10 o'clock hour, Mike and I are actually going to go out to a tree and show how that works.
Yeah, and this is a help to tell how trees are growing, how vigorously or poorly, either one, that they're growing by looking at the number of rings per inch. And we have standards, like 5 rings per inch is fast growing, 20 rings per inch, really slow. So those are part of what we use. And what we're looking at in the mural is different things that foresters do. So the forester doing the increment boring is finding out whether or not that tree would be marked, like is showing in the middle picture of marking the tree for removal. And then when all the trees are marked within a predetermined timber sale area, that is offered to a local lumber company to bid on it. And if they get it, then they send their logging contractors up to remove the logs, take them to the lumber mill. Now, as part of all of that, we're going to show you in the rest of the museum the different parts of logging and getting the logs to a lumber mill.
Now, a lot of people are concerned right now, it's fire season and everything. You've got this back behind us, and you told me about this, and I was like, okay, this now makes sense. We only have about a minute left, so if you could explain
okay.
this.
Well, basically, this is what you call a fuel ladder. If you've got a lot of young trees, and like in the past 40 years or so, where the management has changed, where we're not managing like we used to. When I was in the Forest Service in the 70s, we were managing with a number of timber sales, a lot of thinnings. We had funds to do fire cleanup and that kind of thing. Now we've got a whole lot of growth in the forest, and what I'm showing is if there's a fuel ladder, a lot of trees of different sizes working up to the crown, that the fire just goes whoosh right on up to the crown and starts what they call a crown fire, which gets just out of control. It just goes sending sparks ahead, and we can't control it. As a forester, the dark trees is how we would have thinned it so it doesn't have that fire ladder effect. So that's what I'm showing in this particular.
That is interesting. So if we could remove some of that, give it a little space, we can help out with that.
Yes, and foresters are the ones that have to be back in control on forest land. That's not the case right now, but hopefully we can get more foresters back into control on federal forest lands where they can do a lot of this work in the future, which would minimize the amount of effect of forest fires. Right now you're seeing the result, just way too much vegetation, just extreme fuel, and you'll hear firefighters talk about it. And it isn't global warming, it's huge amounts of fuel that are making our huge fires.
Oh, interesting. Okay, just one step in this museum, and I'm telling you, this museum is fantastic, so we're going to keep going around and learning stuff. Back to you guys.
Oh, where do you want to send the caravan next?
Oh my goodness. I am able to travel anywhere. If you live in a small town and you want to show off your community, please invite the Codester over. Good day at kmaxtv.com. Yes,
right,
I just
there,
called
Codester.
myself the Codester.
Also, if you can travel anywhere, let's aim high. Bora Bora, the Maldives, something.
Put
Yeah.
some wings on that
If
caravan.
you invite me, I get to go. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Code.
And welcome back, Cody's Caravan. We're live in White Pines. We're at the Sierra Nevada Logging Museum here. Mike, what are we looking at here, my friend?
Well, I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. I want to first say I'm Mike Scanfield, registered professional forester. And foresters are like architects, where architects have building contractors, foresters have logging contractors
Okay.
that work with them. So we do the scientific marking of the trees that are removed for particular reasons from the forest, and then the loggers come in and do the removal according to specific contract requirements to take the logs out. What we're looking here is the beginning of the harvest process, and it's called falling the timber and then limbing the logs that are down on the ground, and then bucking, cutting up the logs to prescribed lengths that the mills want at the other end. So interesting difference about the mannequins that you see here is that we've determined that a good way to get a good hardy mannequin was to go down to the local muffler shop and have the welder make up these steel mannequins so that they could hold and do the different jobs that we have them doing here. So you're looking at steel mannequins inside there with muffler tubing to make their bodies.
I love it. I love it. Let's keep walking because we got a lot to show off. What is this over here? What are we looking at
All
here?
right, what I've had done here is these are examples of each of the tools that we show on the other side, way of the camera. Like for instance, back here with the drag saw, we have example of how the drag saw is used in this part of the exhibit. So each of the different tools that we have, the exhibit builder has shown how they're used in this whole diorama. It's a beautiful job.
It really is a beautiful job. And then we want to get down here real quick because this is one of the most interesting pieces of technology and engineering I've ever seen.
Right.
So we're looking at a 3,000 foot grade here?
3,000 foot difference in elevation between where they're bringing the logs in from the harvest area, and they have to get them down 3,000 foot of elevation. Now the alternative is windy tracks all the way down for miles and miles, or an engineer came up with this device with cable, and he's got 8,000 feet of cable circular where he can run a loaded train car down while he's pulling an empty train car back up.
I'm telling you, this museum is fascinating. You've got to come out here. Mike, thank you very much for showing this to us. You've got to come down here. I'm telling you, it is the best
Left and right.
museum I've seen in a long time. They really explained the whole thing. Back to you guys in the studio there. It was so neat.
Very
3,000 foot
cool.
grade. I was like, how did they get them down there?
Learning something new every day, I'm telling you.
Fun to see.
Earlier this morning, Cody headed up the hill to check out the Sierra Nevada Logging Museum to get all the details.
Okay, we're about to learn something really cool. You know, you see like a tree that's cut and you see the rings in the tree. That's how they tell the health of the tree and the age of the tree and everything. But you have to cut the tree down to learn that. But they actually have a tool. Mike, tell us about this little tool here.
Well, the tool is called an increment borer, Swedish made, fine steel. And what we do is go over to the tree about breast height and find a place where we can go in here. And then we start,
You got it.
got to get it started here. What I'll do is just go in a little way, and then I have an extractor that I'll use to pull the core out so you can see it. Let me get this in there for a while.
This is really interesting. I didn't know, because, like, you know, I'm an idiot. I didn't know, but I thought you just had to chop the tree down to see how healthy it was.
Okay, help me put it in here.
Okay, so it goes in that little hole
Yep.
between the two of us. There we go.
Yeah, I was explaining to Cody that I'd had surgery on my eye, so I can't see quite as well. Okay, it's coming out here. You see the...
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
what can we learn from that?
Well, what we do is we normally look at the outer inch, so that's just inside the bark, and how many rings per outer inch. So can you figure how many rings?
Yeah, there's a bunch. I'm from Alabama. I don't know if I can count that many. There got to be about 30.
Whoa, okay. Okay, a good rule is that like 5 rings per inch is a good healthy tree. Getting up 20 or 30, it's really slowed down. And so this tree is feeling the competition with other trees around it. And so this, we would think that if there was an opportunity to thin this out, we'd take this out if there were other trees around to take its place.
That is so interesting. That is so interesting. Just that little thing that you can tell all that about the tree.
There we go. All right.
And back she goes.
Back she goes, and we get this out for it.
I'm telling you, the Sierra Nevada Logging Museum in White Pines, you have got to come out and check this out. You will learn so much about our area and the history of our area. It's not even funny. You guys, back to you guys in the studio. Mike and I got some more work to do.
Very cool, Cody. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody.